right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Give Me Back My Action Movies, the podcast. It's a very special episode. First of all, you want on here, Nate. Nate,
no
are you
Nate
there?
Today.
No,
Nate.
Wait, Nate?
Nope.
All right, good. All right.
Nope.
So, just me and Charlie, and this is a special drop. The reason it's a special drop, Charlie, is because we have a very special guest who we interviewed.
Yes. Very special.
Yes, very special.
So,
So, the episode on Beastmaster.
which
Remember
was
that one?
awesome.
You
Oh,
remember that?
I
You
do
remember
remember it.
You talked about being in your underwear and swinging a stick around, and
Yep.
your favorite sword and sorcery movie.
Yeah. As a
Okay.
kid, obviously. Yeah. That was
super
it.
good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we did that episode, we put it out, and we got a lot of really good feedback. Well, Charlie, as you were perusing other Facebook groups,
Yes.
you came across a hand reaching virtually through the muck and the mire to offer you an interview.
I did. Yeah.
You want to tell the story?
Yeah. I'll tell a story. But no, I'm in a sword and sorcery group on Facebook. And somebody shared a picture of Beastmaster, and everyone's like, obviously like, oh, I loved that as a kid. Oh, I love this movie. So I just put on there, hey, we're releasing an episode pretty soon of Beastmaster. No link, no nothing. I don't spam the show everywhere. If someone's interested, they'll search it out. Well, someone I guess was interested. They commented on my comment and went, hey, you want to interview someone that was in the movie? And I'm like,
no.
oh, but doing the conventions and stuff, I'm used to like agents reaching out like, hey,
Sure.
you want so and so on. So at first I didn't recognize the name. I was like, yeah, absolutely. And he goes, well, send me a private message. And I was in it, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, what? I look up the name, and it was Joshua Milrad, one of those two. And he was tall. Young King Tall in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so a
I'd be
message,
confused with King Tut.
not with King Tut,
No,
not with King, nothing like that.
A different king.
Totally different king.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
But messaged him, talked to him a little bit, and he was interested to come on the show. And throughout the course of, I don't know, what's it been, going on 2 months or something now since we first talked to him. He's in production on other things that he works on. It's in the interview. You'll hear in a little bit. So it was just trying to time everything out. I mean, eventually I was talking to him on the phone. It was just very surreal for me. I'm talking to someone that, was in a childhood favorite movie. And I was just like, it's kind of unbelievable, but it was cool. So yeah, we scheduled up an interview with Joshua. And while we've done interviews on the horror show, this is the first action interview we're getting ready to do.
Yes. And the interview was fantastic because not only do we talk about Beastmaster and find out some things that we didn't know and actually tell him some things he didn't know, I guess. He also tells us about who Josh is and how he got to where he was and how he got to where he is and where he's going in the future. And that's really cool. I mean,
yeah,
talking about what was like on set and shooting this and everything else, that's awesome. I really like that. But it's like getting to know the person and seeing like his little game room area there and his pinball machine and some of his action figures and stuff. It was just super cool to get to know the guy a little bit.
And that's been my goal. Like, so if any of y'all have heard the other interviews that we've done with the horror show, we don't just want to interview so-and-so and just do like, so you made a movie, tell me about the movie, tell me,
very robotic.
And any information that is already out there is out there. So I would rather talk to the person. So this is more of an interview of Josh, who happened to be in Beastmaster.
Yeah. We're not reinventing the wheel with this show.
No.
Terminator, folks, Commando, Beastmaster. We're trying to tell you what we think about it and how we feel. I mean, I don't know, who cares what we think, right?
Yeah.
Well, but we're trying to give you the why it's stuck with us 25, 35, 40 years later or whatever it might be. And in the process of doing that, trying to get to know the people that made these things as well. So, yeah, everyone loves Schwarzenegger. If Schwarzenegger wants to come on the show, of course, we're going to talk to him.
Heck yeah, come on, man.
But
But we're going to ask him what he's doing now.
yeah, like,
What are you doing
you know what?
outside
I'll
of
tell you
filming?
right now, if Schwarzenegger comes on the show, I'm not going to ask him about Terminator or any of that other stuff. I want to ask him what his favorite food is at Schmidt's here in Columbus when he goes.
Yeah.
Here, be here this weekend. You want to go try to track him down for you?
I say go for it. I think you and Nate should buddy up, and because
Okay.
I
If
think
we
it'd
do
be
that, we
interesting.
need Pete to come with us and film the whole thing and make it like a buddy adventure movie of us trying to find Schwarzenegger and getting shut down the whole time, basically.
I think that would actually be somewhat entertaining.
Actually, we should
The
have planned
search
this
for
out.
Schwarzenegger.
Damn it, we should have planned this out.
You should have. You guys are right there. You should have been on top of that.
Yeah.
Nate can ask him what his favorite Shrek movie is. I mean,
what's your favorite movie you've never been in? Like Nate does with Freddy Krueger.
Nah, Nate does good. Nate does good.
I love Nate on the show. I kind of miss him. Nate,
still not here.
No,
no, we're not impersonating each other.
Are you sure?
I've had enough of that shit. We're done. We're done.
All right, so let's go ahead and throw to the commercials real quick. And when we come back, we're going to get right into the meat and potatoes, the sizzle, and the steak, the interview with Josh Milrad.
Hey guys, this is Wolfie D from PG-13. Check out my podcast, Live and in Color with Wolfie D, every Monday at noon. We're talking Memphis, we're talking ECW, WCW, WWF, everywhere that I've been. We even have some great guests, some Hall of Famers on the show with us. Every Monday at noon, Live and in Color with Wolfie D.
Hey, this is the one-man gold mine, the one-man enterprise of professional wrestling and all entertainment, Flynn Hendricks. And you better believe when I'm looking for a good podcast to listen to, I go to my own. I go to the I Know You Hear Me podcast hosted by me, Flynn Hendricks. That is such a fresh perspective for how you should look at life, too. I love that. And then when I'm feeling spooky, I go to my other podcast, Tales from the Haunt, where I want my head shoved inside a 15-pound silicone mask more. I want to have a bucket of sweat coming off me at the end of the night than just Jeff.
Dogs don't lay eggs, Flynn.
I hate you so much. Talk to other scare actors about what it takes to get into the world of scare acting. So if you're curious about how people became professional wrestlers, actors, prioritized their mental health, became entrepreneurs, avoided burnout, or got into scare acting, you need to go check out I Know You Hear Me and Tales from the Haunt, available on all podcasting platforms. And I know you hear me.
Sorry, I was distracted. I was looking at this A-Team figures set here from Galoob back in the day, Toys R Us.
The ones that look like the G.I. Joes?
Yeah, it was only like $7. You got Murdoch in an orange jumpsuit and Face in a black jumpsuit and BA in a green jumpsuit and Hannibal in a blue jumpsuit.
Yep. They came with little machine guns you could interchange.
Red backpacks and stuff.
Yep. They all fit in the A-Team van, so you could get the A-Team van and put them all in there.
I never had that. I had the General Lee, and I had Kit. Okay, so we have an interview.
Yeah, we do. That was our toy spot, I guess. Now we're adding to this show. I don't know.
I don't know either. Hey, interview time. Roll it. All right, everyone. So, a very special guest with us, a gentleman that, if you've listened to one of our previous episodes, We've talked about some of his work in a almost maybe a previous life kind of situation, how we've all lived multiple lives, I think, in this. They say you only get one, but I think we try to get many. And that's Joshua. Joshua, introduce yourself real quick and just say hello to everybody.
Hey everyone, I'm Joshua Milrad. Grew up in the entertainment business, mostly because of my folks, and went to film school and was a child actor for a spell, and now work in post-production and production on all sorts of content, from sports to reality TV to scripted and beyond.
Awesome. So more of the behind the scenes kind of magic instead of on screen magic type things.
When I got to high school, I kind of wanted to focus on being a teenager more than being an actor, and then I knew I was going to most likely go to college, so I was a film and TV major, which honestly, having grown up in the business, was a little boring.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, they didn't let you really use the cameras until junior year, so that was more exciting. But
and at that point, you kind of already knew what you were doing, I assume, and to an extent. You kind of already had a good feel for it, right?
Well, it was strange. I kind of grown up on the set, so a lot of it, was just normal to me. You know what I mean? And of course, there's always stuff to learn every day, always, everywhere in life, and on the set. But yeah, I mean, I kind of knew my classic films. I'd been raised around all those movies. I'd seen them already. So writing papers about that kind of stuff and all that wasn't that exciting. Non-linear editing hadn't really come in yet. It was just about to come in. So there wasn't even that for me as a computer geek to be excited about. That came a little late.
Right.
That came a
Still
little
splicing, huh?
Yeah, but I mean, we didn't even get to do much of that really. It was in the freshman year, at least sophomore year. It was later on we got to make some short films, but by then it was mostly video.
Sure.
They were still shooting on video because it was so cheap.
That was like me trying to take art class going, when do I finally get to draw something? And it was, no, we have to learn why you like to draw,
right,
or why other people like to draw. And I'm like, no, I came here to draw.
Right.
Let me draw something.
I would think if you get inspired by doing it, you'd want to maybe learn that other stuff later. You get so into drawing that you'd be like, well, who else is a master at this? And what do they do? What are their techniques? How can I learn? But in the beginning, you want to do it. Yeah, you want to do it.
If that's what I want to do, then I will dig in deeper myself.
Of course.
Till then, let me see if I love this. Let me see if this is even something I care about for the next 6 months.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. And it's like when I've taught kids to play instruments a little bit. I'm a musical guy, and it's the same thing. If you start off with a bunch of musical theory, they're gonna just fall asleep.
They're out.
But you get an electric guitar.
That's my kids.
Right. You get an electric guitar in their hands, or an instrument they like. It's a different story. And then when they want to get good, they're gonna have to learn that stuff later.
Exactly.
Or you as a parent, you spend a couple $100 because they say they want to do it, and you try to get them all started, and 3 weeks later they haven't touched it, which there's a guitar somewhere in Anthony's room.
Right.
And I was like, how cool is this? There was a video game, Rockmaster, that you literally plug the real guitar in, not Guitar Hero.
Oh, okay.
But it was an actual program game that taught you how to play. It was like $80.
Yep.
I bought him a smaller guitar for his frame,
Mm-hmm.
and I spent all this money for a birthday. He was super excited. I was the best dad in the world for 3 weeks. And because he couldn't immediately start, he was done.
Right.
And I was like, that was a great investment. I can't wait till the next hobby comes.
Did you play guitar? Do you play guitar as well?
No.
Oh, you don't?
That was the thing. If I could have taught him, or maybe encouraged, but I am also like, I'm a hands-on. I'm a carpenter. I'm a
Nice.
mechanic and all this other stuff. So I'm like, if he's in the wood shop with me, that's kind of sparked his interest now. But when you're trying to like, what do you like? Do you like guitar? Cool, let's try it. That was expensive. I'm not doing that again. That's on your own
honestly,
dime when you get a job.
Guitar is a difficult instrument for a child because it requires so much finger dexterity and finger strength. I started on ukulele when I was 4 years old, something like that. And so that was a lot easier. The strings are a little spaced out a little more. They're not as hard to press down. There's only 4 of them. You know what I mean? But
True.
Guitar, especially with the metal strings, very hard on a kid. Hard on anybody, really, just when you're starting.
I believe it, but you want to encourage your kid.
Of course.
And
of course. You got to let them try it. And then, but piano, they do get a little more instant gratification because, they just press the key, they hear the note. They're not trying to hold down a string and, It's so hard. String instruments are very
not
difficult.
as much technique and stuff on there, but
there is
that's parental rearing
See,
now.
I only have one,
as
so if he tries something and doesn't like it, it's not the end of the world. If I do it 3 times, oh my gosh, that would be tough.
I'm handing the guitar down. If one of the other two,
one of them
might
love it. Yeah, exactly.
Here, try it. Your brother didn't even look at it anymore, but that we've digressed way off of where.
No, it's all good. I was going to tell you a story
No,
maybe you guys would appreciate this. When I lived in New York with my parents, we did a road trip to Nashville, Tennessee, and I was probably 5 years old, well, maybe 4 years old. And my dad was just obsessed with bluegrass at that time. He's a musician, and he bought a banjo down there and wanted to get into it. He had never played a string instrument. He's a pianist. And I got a little ukulele. And I was so psyched. I was like, I think maybe I was 4. I really didn't know what I was doing. But we were in this diner, and I got up. I started singing some songs for people, and the local newspaper guy took a picture. I have a clipping. It's hilarious.
Sweet.
And I loved it. I mean, my dad was a pianist, so that was always very intimidating because he was just incredible. Old school pianist.
He sits down and stuff happens.
Yeah, it's like breathing air.
It's insane.
Right?
Exactly.
And anyway, so the ukulele got me started, and then I did pick up guitar, but probably not till I was about 12, 10 or 12, something like that.
That was about Anthony's age when he first started.
But I already had a little bit of a background. I already knew how to make chords and stuff. So, but nylon strings maybe would be. I don't know if you got them nylon or steel strings, but nylon's a little easier.
I think it was still steel strings.
That's tough.
I can't remember now. It's been a little while.
Yeah,
but tough. Like I said, I'll throw him in the wood shop and let him play with power tools, and he's happy as all.
Nice. See, that's something my dad never gave me. I wish I had that experience. That would have been a good one. He gave me other wonderful experiences, but nothing like wood shop or.
Yeah. So it starts out as a child actor. So who got you into that?
All right. Well, the truth is, it's good old Hollywood nepotism. My folks have good friends that were in the entertainment business. My father was a conductor on Broadway and a pianist and musical director and all this. And some of his friends moved out to California, and they were encouraging us to move out. So long story short, we wound up moving to California. But before that, he had put my father's friend, Danny Dayton, who was a commercial director and an actor. You'd recognize him from some really old movies if you saw him. He was directing a commercial. I think it was for Dawn dishwashing liquid, something like that. And I was 9 months old. They put me in the commercial, and my parents say I wanted to do this. I kept looking at the TV saying, "Oh, I can do that." I don't know if that's true or not, but maybe it's true. But they basically put me in the industry as a child. So I was going on auditions at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way through high school. Yeah. And it was interesting. I mean, there's upsides and downsides that we can get into if you want to get real about it. But
no, I think it's fine. It's however deep you want to go. But I think you've opened the door now. We spoke briefly before we started recording that Dan's wearing a particular shirt today that Josh picked up on, and Dan's wearing a Millennium Falcon shirt. And I went, I have a question, or at least something I want to bring up with Josh. And I think Josh realized what I was talking about because I did my homework, Josh. I really did. I've been on your YouTube channel. I've been on the other stuff. And so I think it'd be kind of fun for Dan to know that Josh was in a Star Wars toy commercial.
Oh, awesome.
As a child.
Okay.
You want to tell him which one it was, Josh?
It was the Snow Speeder.
Do you remember? As a matter of fact, I think I just watched that one a couple weeks ago. There's a Facebook group about 80s or 80s toys, or I can't remember exactly which one it is.
It's the toys, cartoons, and commercials one that we're
so they will show like a vintage toy, or they'll show an advertisement, a print advertisement, and then later on that day or the next day or whatever, they will show a commercial for it if they have access to it, type of thing. So I've seen a bunch of those, and I think, like I said, that one was a couple of weeks ago, as a matter of fact.
That's funny. Wow. Yeah. I hadn't seen it in 30, 40 years until somebody sent it to me, on an email on some site, retro commercial. And I started looking up, any other commercials I did. Sure,
yeah.
It was fun. I never thought I'd see that again,
Did you actually get to take the toys home?
No, but they mailed me some toys after the fact. And I was psyched. The ones they had on set were specially painted and treated and whatever.
Oh, sure, for TV,
whatever they do.
My aunt worked at Kenner. I'm from near Cincinnati in northern Kentucky, so my aunt worked at Kenner. So every week we got new Star Wars toys.
Wow!
Because part of I know it was amazing. Part of the gimmick was they worked there and they were able to grab 2 or 3, 4 different things at the end of each week. and
Wow.
they would bring it to us. So like I remember the year I got my Falcon for Christmas, and we get to little figures, and I had some now that in hindsight were worth money. I wish I wouldn't have buried in the backyard
We
playing.
all wish
I have
we
a
had
few behind me
hindsight.
here. I have a few behind me.
You know, yeah. I mean, I had like the original Queen alien with the mouth would come out and the
I
whole
think I
thing.
have that
It was,
one. Yeah, yeah.
no, it was a blast. You
That's
know, I
awesome.
remember those days and things, and I remember watching those commercials. As a matter of fact, going, man, I wish I could be those kids playing with those toys. Those are awesome. I wonder how great that is. Well, now I can find out how great that was.
Yeah. Yeah, Josh now is taking us
Oh
on a quick
yeah,
video tour.
got you the
That's
DeLorean
awesome.
there, the back to the out of time DeLorean, and all kinds of cool stuff.
These
Yeah.
guys were great. These
The
metal,
Ronin Warriors.
from Japan. Yeah,
Yes,
anyway,
that's
I was into these
awesome.
metal sculptures for a while too, and but yeah, no, I have more action figures than any adult man should have for sure.
That's the and that was the robot from Metropolis.
Yes, I love
In
that.
that
That's
one,
my favorite
yeah.
robot. Similarly, this is the Bride of Pinbot on the side of the pinball machine. On the
Very cool.
But yeah, I'm big on robots. I love my son loves robotics. I really hope he sticks with that.
Okay.
I don't know if you're worried about toys so much there, Josh. As I sit in my nerd vault,
Nice.
I am 100%,
Wow.
360 degrees surrounded.
Oh man, you're gonna make me want to come down there and play. Nice.
Come on, whatever it takes, man. Let's do that.
That's awesome.
So you got pulled in as a child,
I did.
thrown in the world essentially, kind of in the deep end there, and let you just kind of float through it. And later on, you said you made a decision to jump ship on the other side of the camera, essentially.
More or
What
less. I mean,
now-
I must say, I wasn't just floating through it. I mean, I had a lot of wonderful mentors and family and
Sure.
people that were keeping a good eye on me because they knew the risks. You know, there's
Yeah.
a lot of risks.
You hear a lot of horror stories about things that happened with child actors and musicians, any entertainment
The
industry.
proof
really.
is in the history. I mean, it's
Sure.
there, you know.
Sure.
So they
yeah,
were very
why-
careful with all of that, to their credit, you know. But yes, I reached a point as a teenager where I didn't want to have to obsess about my weight or the way my face looked or the way my hair looked,
Sure.
or you know, did I have a little bit of a cold and I didn't sound right that day, and you know what I mean. It was just too much. It was too much. I just wanted to party and have fun and go to college, you know, after high school, and I don't know. It just seemed I had friends of family that were actors that still hadn't made it into their 50s, and they were so talented. You know, I've seen them do Shakespeare, I've seen them do musicals, I've seen them do drama, comedy,
Sure.
and you know, and like, why hasn't this person, you know, able to make a living doing this? It was just, you know, and I kind of realized early on that no matter how much talent you have, there is a luck factor.
There's still a crapshoot.
It's not merit based. You know what I mean? If you're in a certain kind of field, and you know that if you get a certain degree and you get a certain job and you get, you know, A, B, C, D, whatever, in entertainment, anybody could. It's just, there's just no rhyme or reason. You can try to steer the ship as best you can, but all the stars have to line up just right for that first thing to happen, and then you got to do it again. You know what I mean? And again, and again,
and again, and
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
It's one thing I've noticed specifically doing this podcast now, watching movies from when I was a kid, you know, and seeing going, oh, that's, you know, oh, that guy is a great actor, or that's a great film, or whatever, and then watching some of the newer films, going, ooh, okay, so acting has changed first and foremost, obviously. And then you know, you see some of the actors that are out there now doing it, and you've got some that, and quite honestly, I'll say it, there's some I go, how in the hell did you get this job? And then I go, oh wait, you look that way. All right, I got you. Never mind, I get it now. You know, and then it just
some of it is that.
It blows my mind sometimes. Like you said, there's some actors that I don't think could act themselves out of a wet paper bag, but are still getting roles over and over and over again. And then you see some that you just catch, you know, on an independent film or something, and you go, they're a hell of an actor. Why aren't they, you know, why aren't they in the Avengers, or why aren't they in, you know, Star Wars or these big mega franchises?
Or even able to just make enough money to get their health.
Yeah, or just pay the bills. Yeah, that's always the thing,
I mean,
too, for sure.
I know wildly talented people that have been chasing acting their whole lives, and now and they're good and they're trained like Shakespearean actors, okay? And they just never got that one break that they need. And these were people that grew up in Hollywood mostly. These aren't even like people that came here to try to chase a dream or something. They were around it. Some of them were even you know, pretty well connected, you know. But nepotism in Hollywood goes back to the beginning. I mean, look,
Oh, sure.
Judy Garland's daughter was Liza Minnelli. She's talented, but I don't think she would have been a star if her mother wasn't Judy Garland, right?
Sure.
I mean, maybe
This is
What,
true.
Lucille Ball, the whole Desilu thing. I mean, everything.
well, and I think that's true in a lot of
For
businesses,
example.
right? If we look at a
Oh,
lot of
yes.
businesses, there's a lot of nepotism, right? It's everywhere.
No,
But
It
it's
happens.
frustrating. It's frustrating, when you know you're talented and you know you could do this job and you just can't get to do what you want to do.
It's frustrating. Sure.
That's tough.
I
I didn't
understand.
want
I
to be.
mean,
I didn't want to be a 50-year-old caterer, and I saw
Yeah.
that happening, to people.
Yeah, I took a little bit of time to try to get into radio, mainstream terrestrial radio work, and you're right. I mean, and on a very minuscule level, I
It's the
saw
same
that
thing.
happen. Where I was like, people kept telling me like, "Hey, you're pretty good at this. You're pretty good at this. You're pretty good at this," but no one would give me the shot to prove that.
Right.
So
Right.
I get it exactly what you're saying, and you get to a point.
And even
where,
then, if they give you the wrong slot and you don't get a great reaction, you might not get a second chance for 5 years.
Right.
It's crazy.
Absolutely, I know people from the industry that did it for a long, long time and can't get their foot back in the door for one reason or another. Yeah.
It's tough. It is tough. And so look,
Absolutely.
I would go on camera if somebody asked me to, if it was something I wanted to do, but I'm
Sure.
not going to go auditioning for people anymore. I just don't want to do that. I don't
Using hindsight, which is the gift we all wish we had, are you super happy then, having made that decision that long ago to go more to the behind the camera side, or is there a part of you where you're still just like, oh, I wish I would have taken that Back to the Future interview or audition or something like that? Is there?
I think it's a balance.
Mhm.
There's always that fantasy. When you're a kid or a young person and you're on a big set and you're being treated so well, obviously you want more of that, right? I mean, it's
Sure.
Well,
the
yeah,
work is
yeah.
fun. People are giving you respect and being nice to you. Certainly wasn't very physically challenging. So yeah, you miss that. But what I don't miss is the lifestyle. You know what I mean? The actor lifestyle
Mhm.
is tough. Unless you find a side gig where you make a bunch of money, like once in a while somebody's like, oh yeah, I just day trade and then I make thousands a week doing that, and then I just go on auditions when that's pretty
Sure.
rare. You know what I mean? That's pretty
Yeah,
rare.
that's different. That's comfortable. That means I don't have to worry about whether I'm going to make a
Exactly.
big paycheck here. I've got money coming in.
Right. That would
I'd
take a
love
lot
to
of
live
pressure
like
off.
that.
Yeah.
Take a lot of pressure off all of us
Yeah,
if that's how
yeah,
it
no
works.
kidding, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you touched a little bit there. I kind of want to talk a little bit about the main reason you're here, Josh. And we are the Give Me Back My Action Movie podcast.
All right.
And we did just do an episode about Beastmaster.
Oh.
And I've said it in our episode that it is probably my all-time favorite childhood movie.
Have you heard of that
Yeah.
movie, Josh?
I'm sorry?
You're versed in that movie, right? You've heard of
I've heard of it.
Beastmaster?
I
Okay,
have.
good. All right. That'll make
just the
this less
original.
awkward.
I'm really only familiar with the original one.
Yeah, I was going to say, did they not call you back for number 2?
They didn't call a lot of people back for number 2. And number 2, I don't know if I would have wanted to be in number 2 or number 3.
I was going to say, I think you might have dodged
Good
a bullet.
choice.
with
I
number
feel
2.
bad for Mark Singer because I think those movies kind of hurt him. And you see, here's an example.
I think
Here's
they
a
did.
perfect example. Mark Singer, okay, Shakespeare actor, trained, England, United States. He can do comedy. He can do drama. He looks great. He's funny. I mean, women respond to him, right? Men like him. Never broke through as an A-list star.
Right.
I think he's way better than
So
a lot
weird.
of people, that I see now. Certainly Schwarzenegger or somebody who can, has trouble speaking English even in a movie. It breaks my heart. Now, I don't know if he's unhappy or happy. He's probably a happy guy because he goes to Comic-Cons. He's treated like a superhero, but he's a good actor. I don't know if you ever saw, if you could see what I hear. That was a famous play that was made into a movie, and he played the lead in that. About a blind man.
I'd have to look that up.
Oh,
I mean,
man, worth it. If
We,
you like
we
Mark
know
Singer,
him.
that was the performance of his
Well,
lifetime.
we love Mark Singer. We grew up with him watching V.
Well,
Obviously the Beastmaster movies, but that's what we were. That was Mark Singer to us.
That was
Right.
what we were
That
exposed
was-
to, right?
Well, I'm telling
Yeah.
you, look up If You Could See What I Hear. He was great,
I'm
and it's a
making
great
note.
story. It's a classic story. I mean, it's a
Excellent.
classic play.
So speaking of Mark Singer and your time on Beastmaster, what was some of the, if you don't mind speaking about it, what were some of the things and maybe some of the people that you worked with there that surprised you or you learned something real valuable from? And then
Sure.
on the other side of the coin, what was some of the things from the shoot that you were just like, ugh, oh no, not this again, or
All
what
right.
have you?
I mean, happy to share these stories. John Alcott, Sir John Alcott, actually, he was knighted by the Queen.
Oh,
That's awesome.
Was the
fancy.
director of photography for the Beastmaster, which is
Oh,
crazy.
Okay.
beautiful. Yes, that work is beautiful in that movie.
Maybe you guys know this, maybe I don't know. He was Stanley Kubrick's director of photography. He did
Really?
Clockwork
No,
Orange.
I don't think we dug that far into it.
He
We
did-
did talk about how well the movie looked.
Right. Well,
We
that's because
dug
of
into
him.
that.
It's because of him. They
Yeah.
probably spent more money on him than just about anybody, maybe even including Mark Singer. He did Clockwork Orange. He did some of the biggest Kubrick movies of all time. I mean,
No wonder it looked the way it
was
did.
he was the superstar on the set.
Sure.
I mean, as big a star as Mark was. John Alcott, he's deceased now, was an amazing guy, English guy, very, very kind, humble guy. I'll tell you a quick story about John Alcott. So we were shooting at MGM in on a soundstage in that big tunnel. I don't know if you remember that scene where the guys are
Yes.
flying through the sides, right? And Mark,
Yeah.
The dungeon
dungeon.
part. Yeah.
Beautiful set, very dark. And John Alcott is of the school of eliminating light and then slowly adding it in to get a very dark, rich. You can tell. I mean, he knows what he's doing.
Sure.
So
Right.
he was shooting a hero close up of Mark in that tunnel, and I was watching him, and he turned to his assistant and he said, "Get me the case." And it comes back with a pelican case, like a briefcase looking thing.
Mm-hmm.
Opens it up like in Pulp Fiction, like the Holy Grail is in there, and he's got like a dozen flashlights of different sizes and brands, and like maybe 20 or 30. I don't know. It was amazing. It was like Robert De Niro in Brazil. He just opened this thing up, and all these tools and all these flashlights. So
That's
he picks
awesome.
one out, and he says to the young camera girl, "I'll never forget this. He says, 'You done with your coffee?' She says, 'Yeah.' So, let me have your cup." Okay. And he takes her styrofoam cup, and he peels off just the bottom circle of the cup.
Right.
Throws away the rest. He takes a pin, and he makes a little pinhole in that circle, and he takes the circle and he tapes it to the flashlight he has selected for this shot. So he has this flashlight with just a little pinhole of light, and when they would roll, he would just aim it right in Mark's eye. Now, he wasn't looking at the light, he was looking over there, so it was fine.
Right.
But it gave that extra little special kick.
Yeah. He's
I was
the
just blown away. I mean, I
hero.
was 12 years old, but I will never forget that. That was one of the most amazing things I had seen on
That's
set.
crazy.
I mean, that was art. I mean, that was like where
Yeah. Absolutely. That makes me always think like one of my other favorite movies is like Indiana Jones, the original Indiana. The shot where he turns at Raider, yes, and he's leaving Marion's bar and he turns, and that shot of his where the eyes are dark, the rest of his face is lit differently, and he turns and he looks, and it's, to me, it's a beautifully crafted, iconic shot that every time I watch the movie, and my youngest son's name is Henry because of Indiana Jones, and my oldest is Han because of Star Wars. So as I watch Raiders, though, every time, and I love the movie, but that scene every time just gives me goosebumps on my arm thinking about how beautiful that shot was crafted, and that's what really made me my whole life go, okay, movies and films are different, but a movie can be a film and back and forth, but it's, you're right, it's the craftsmanship, it's the art, and for him to know I need the temperature of that particular flashlight to do this, to do that, and he just knew what the reaction was going to be. That's brilliant.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was by far the most experienced person on that set. I mean, Don Coscarelli was 30 years old. He had never directed a movie of that size.
Mm-hmm.
Not even. I mean, he tells the story himself. I mean, he was very overwhelmed, and they threatened to fire him apparently. And it was John Alcott who stood up for young Don Coscarelli and said, "If you fire him, I'm leaving."
Oh, it's
This is
fantastic.
a true story.
That would have been the nail in the coffin for that movie,
Right.
because
And what a mensch, what a righteous guy to say that.
Yeah,
now, he didn't
absolutely.
know Don very well. They had called him on a lark to see if they could get him to shoot this movie. They thought, "Oh, we'll never get John Alcott." And he tells the story better than I do. But anyway, sure enough, John Alcott was looking to move to California from England, and he saw the Beastmaster, Hollywood. He got a wonderful paycheck, and he moved his family out here.
And it all lined
He
up
got
for him.
to know Don, and they became friends. And sure enough, when the shit hit the fan, John stood up for the young director. It was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
That is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, he was a good
And
guy.
those are the stories we don't really get, as you know, even as fans, we don't find this stuff out readily, and that's amazing, because that's one thing about this movie that, love it or hate it, no one can ever say that this is a poorly shot movie
No.
or anything like that. It is
Yeah.
gorgeous. Dan and I were going on about the movie for like 5 solid minutes of it. Just looked like where they shot all the set, the temple scene, because we were like, I'd hate to be a stunt guy on that temple,
Bouncing
especially
down
the
the
guy that
steps.
falls
Oh.
Yeah.
falls off the. I
Those
watched one
guys,
of your
they
interviews.
lived for that though. They loved it. I mean, they were,
Yeah.
They're like, throw me down. I'm good to
yeah,
go.
like, well, bring on the tiger. Those guys are crazy.
And I know we're interviewing Josh, but I'm going to talk about an interview I was watching about you where you were talking about the temple, and it made me laugh, where he was like, Mark Singer was just like, I hate these stupid little steps. I can't fit on these things. And you were over there going, I fit fine, and could run up and down the things.
It was built for
like they were nothing.
Yeah, it was built for because the steps were small, and because that gave the illusion that it was that much bigger, right? That was the idea. Because these were all optical effects back then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Which
but
we miss.
And he was running all. I mean, he was in his element. I mean, he really was a great leading man in that movie. And
it's one of those things. I can't imagine someone other than him doing that film either. Once you watch it, you just go, that it's iconic. It's an iconic performance of that genre, of that time.
he nailed
And
it.
and you watch it and you just go, oh, holy crap. And I hadn't watched it for a while since before we did it for our episode. And I'm watching it and I'm going, oh, okay, yeah, I remember this. And I remember the ferrets, obviously. And I remember all the, is that John Amos? I'm like, holy, I'm like, wow, I forgot he was even in it. What was it like working with like him and like Rip Torn, all this? What was that like for you too?
John Amos, there's a famous expression that a lion doesn't have to say he's a lion, right? People know.
Yeah.
John Amos is a lion. He is a lion of a man. He was like The Rock on the set. I mean, for me, he was my mentor in the movie, and he was my mentor on the set. So he kind of became, my uncle for 12, 14 weeks there. It was wonderful, and we would laugh. He would crack me up and try to get me to break during. I mean, he was funny. He really made the whole. It would be freezing cold in the middle of the night, but if John was there, we were having a good time.
He always seemed to have that presence coming through the screen.
There's just nothing not to love about that guy. I mean, I hope to God I get to see him again before he leaves us. He's older now. He's in his 80s.
Yeah, he's getting up there. Yeah.
So it's kind of on my list of things I'd really like to get done in the next year or two. I'd like to see
awesome.
him. I haven't seen him in a long, long time.
Well, I know you guys were basically co-stars because a lot of your scenes were together.
We were together, yeah, a lot. Yeah.
Was he pretty much the one that took you under his wing for the most part of the movie?
He and Mark both did, actually. They both
really. So
I used to fence with Mark and practice all the time with the little sword, and he loved working out with me. And John, though, he was more of like a father figure. I mean, my dad was around a lot, my mom was around a lot, and we had other people that were there to babysit me on the set and whatever. But John always looked out for me. I always felt like he felt maybe it was part of his acting. As part of his character was that he was responsible for my safety. So maybe
I was just getting ready to say that.
I don't know. I'm guessing, but he certainly he made me feel like we knew each other our whole lives. I mean, that was
he plays a protector in the movie, but it comes across. So my guess is it was probably not very hard for him, where he's going to be like, this kid's in a new environment, this kid's in an element that he's probably not used to, and I am. And use that to make that character even more, to me, powerful. I mean, we talked about John Amos on there.
He's incredible.
And yeah, I love the interactions between you two. My favorite thing is like whenever you guys first turn around and get like,
I got a story for you
Mark
there.
Singer.
I think
Yeah,
I got a story for you there.
Go for it.
That moment that you just brought up, or I'm pretty sure is the one you're bringing up, where we turn the staffs in unison.
Yes, that was the one I was going to say.
That was my improvisational contribution to the film.
Very cool.
Really?
That was my moment. I was just standing there. I'm like, guys, I'm just standing here, And so cameras rolled. John started to turn. I just did it with him. It was a one take deal. Don Coscarelli jumped out of his chair. He said, "Oh, Josh, that was great. I love that." Okay, all right. That was one of my. That probably was a moment that inspired me to want to work behind the camera, because I just saw how excited he was that some kid brought something to the scene that he never even thought about. You know what I mean? And that's collaborative cooperation art. You know, that's
great.
As a kid, yeah, as a kid watching this, you're not, and what you said, if you had done nothing, you would have been more the tag along character that you're always behind him.
Right.
But in watching it, you were like, oh, he's teaching this kid. This kid is,
and I wish they had explored that more in the movie. I wish they had.
It went from he's the stray waif that needs to be protected and brought back so he can rule the kingdom, to no, this kid can actually kick your ass too if he needs to, and protect himself to an extent. Even though he's got a protector, he's not a weakling. You know, those kind of things I think really helped that character and show that, you know, he was the son of a king. He could take his place, type of thing.
Well, to their credit, they had me do a lot of fencing.
Really? I was going to ask you what kind of preparations for this.
And God, I'm blanking on his name, Victor something, I think. But he was a very famous fight choreographer. I think he'd even gone back to like the Errol Flynn days or something. He was an older guy then. So I mean,
holy crap.
He choreographed all those fights. And he taught me the basics, you know, the 7 parries and how to thrust. And we had certain exercises we would do and certain rhythms. And he worked me out a lot. And then Mark would work me out too. And unfortunately, you know, at the end in the pyramid scene, they show like 2 quick shots of me fighting. Yeah. But, you know, I think because of the situation, we were on the steps, they didn't want to choreograph, you know, anything too crazy. But again,
I can kind of get that. Yeah.
Again, it was the kind of thing where I was there. I wanted to participate more. So I think they wanted me fighting on the steps, but they didn't think I was going to really like be as fluid as I was. I mean, I was just so excited, you know, I was
sure. You were a kid playing sword and sorcery games in front of a camera, basically,
right?
Yeah.
I'm watching Beastmaster at 12.
Right.
You know, I am your age in that movie, watching this movie. And we might as well tell Josh the one thing that's hilarious about me and you watching Beastmaster.
Yeah.
While he was on set and got to experience this in the absolute most uncut way, Dan and I had neither one of us seen this movie uncut till we were both 40.
Yes.
Oh,
because we only ever watched it on TBS.
And you just
the Beastmaster station.
You just tune in and you get different pieces of it. Yeah.
Because I've seen the movie countless times on TBS. So, you know, I've never had to like go buy it because it's just always been the movie I know by heart.
Got a lot
and we're both watching it and we're messaging each other going, do you remember this many boobs? I'm like, nope, I don't remember this many boobs.
Boob Master. What was this? This situation?
Whatever gets them in the seats, you know?
Yeah. But I thought it was kind of funny to share with you that we have a little story.
That's great.
That you got to experience it live, although I'm sure that maybe they shielded you a little bit for some of those scenes.
Well, anything with nudity, they clear the set. You know,
did they? Okay, yeah,
that makes sense.
Just to make it more comfortable for all the performers. And
but speaking of nudity, I'll tell a quick story. I have told this before, but you guys indulge me for a second. So when I was I was given this lovely trailer to do my schoolwork in and to hang out in between shots and stuff. And I remember, they'd bring your costume in that you were going to need to wear that day. And that day, it was toward the end of the shoot, they brought me that little loincloth. Mm-hmm. And I said, no. I said, I'm not wearing that. No way. I said, no. I said, where's the rest of this thing, you know? No. And my dad was with me that day. And he looked kind of panicked, like, Josh, you got to wear this, man. I'm like, I'm not wearing that on the screen. And I was pretty in good shape for a 12-year-old, but I'm like, no. And so my dad was like, Josh, you signed a contract. You got to wear this. I'm like, I'm not wearing this. I'm taking my stand in Hollywood right now. I'm not wearing that on screen. So my dad's like, I'll be right back. So he leaves and I'm in there, you know. And so less than 10 minutes later, in comes my dad, in comes Mark Singer, in comes John Amos. And they all talked to me and said, Josh, we're all together. We're making this ridiculous movie. I'm wearing this leather S&M costume. Mark's naked half the time with a purse, you know, and fringe. He said, "Come on, Josh, this is acting. We're gonna go make a movie now." And I was like, "Okay, you guys. I'm not gonna say no to you guys. You know, I would have said no to the director, or the costume lady, but But my dad,
But
that was a brilliant move. I mean, he figured out just what to do, but he was a theater guy.
and the connections you had with Mark and John at that
He
point
knew,
made you go, all right,
of
yeah,
course.
okay, and
Yeah,
your dad knew that you needed that level of connection and
that's right.
comfort. That's brilliant on your father's part to
Yeah,
know to do that.
that was a good move because I was pissed.
Hey, why did Beastmaster end with the prince not being there? What happened to this?
That was the one thing that got me teased more than anything with that movie. But boo-hoo, right?
Well, back in the day, I mean, come on,
Yeah.
kids were cruel anyway. But like you said, you weren't the only one without a whole lot of clothes on.
That's right. That's right. And
hardly anyone's wearing any clothes.
and now it's just funny. I mean, I'm not.
It is
obviously, it's
no. I mean that definitely. And I wanted to look up real quick. The sword guy was Victor Anselmo.
Well, that's the guy who made the sword. Now,
he made
that's
the
a whole
sword.
other story. He and his son and I have become friends, and he lives in Florida. We couldn't be more different. Okay, I'm this California hippie, and he's in Florida. But we've struck up a nice friendship, and his dad was a real character. I mean, I don't want to speak too much out of turn, but I mean, he was like a gangster knife maker. He was a really interesting guy who got in a lot of fights, and I think he was in prison at one point. Anyway, so he made that beautiful sword for Beastmaster, and I don't think he'd ever made a sword before. I'm not even sure how they connected, but John would love to tell you the story. But anyway, he made this beautiful sword. The sword disappeared. That's a whole other story. The sword, that's a big mystery of the Beastmaster. Where's the sword? Mark Singer was promised that sword. The last day of filming, somebody said, "Can I borrow this? We need some insert shots." He said, "I knew I shouldn't have said yes."
And it disappeared.
I did, and I never got the sword back. Now, there's all kinds of rumors that the executive producer has it, and there's all anyway. But I'm gonna shoot. Anyway, long story short, I'll show you later.
Yeah, that's fine.
Victor's son John makes new Beastmaster swords, and they're beautiful.
Really?
They're beautiful. John AnselmoKnives.com. I'm going to give him a little plug because he's a great
absolutely.
Guy. Hey,
and he's a master swords maker now himself and knife maker. He's some beautiful knives on there if you guys are into hunting knives and bowies and all that kind of stuff.
We love anything sharp. We're down with it.
You would like John. I think you guys would get along. So anyway, he said he found me. And he said, "Hey, Josh, this is who I am." We struck a conversation. He said, "Would you be willing to do a little video? I'll give you a sword." And I had dreamt of having the Beastmaster sword since I was 12. I mean, you know what I mean?
What kid didn't?
And there was no way I was going to spend $2,000 to $4,000 on a sword. As much as I wanted it and loved it, I figured I'm not doing that. So sure enough, he sent me. I have it on the wall in there. It's beautiful. I'll show you. It's nicer than the original sword, in his opinion, in many ways. It's totally combat worthy. I mean, I had to have it dulled because when people came over, they wanted to hold it and take pictures and stuff. And this thing it could cut you. I mean, it was really razor sharp when I got it. So I took it to a famous swordsmith here in LA named Tony Swatton, who's done every big sword movie ever. He dulled it down for me, and he's a Beastmaster fan.
Took care of it.
I love his work.
Yeah. I was starting to feel bad that I found the wrong name, but I just got
it's
information that you have the sword. I love that.
And I know John and Selma would love to talk to you guys if you ever want to hear some really wild and crazy weapon stories about his dad.
Absolutely.
I'll be in touch with John. But he's great.
We did talk about the sword, obviously, in the movie, because as our generation, swords were huge. Conan's sword, He-Man's sword, everything.
I loved it.
And how they were able to make the Beastmaster sword so different and still iconic to that movie. It looks different than almost any sword you saw on movies.
And I wish I could speak more eloquently about the sword, but I'd love to leave that to John because he will tell you so many amazing stories about that sword.
That would be fantastic.
It is considered one of the most beautiful swords ever on the screen by a lot of sword folks really appreciate that sword.
Now, I have a question now. So the sword was missing, and we always hear people taking things from the sets, from the shots, the movies. Did you get anything from Beastmaster?
I should have taken all kinds of stuff, but I was so nervous because I didn't want to get blacklisted in Hollywood.
Sure.
And the prop people, I think they wanted to keep a lot of that stuff. So the short answer is no. I didn't take any props. Or I wasn't given any props.
Right.
Now here's my sad story. We were all given, all the actors and the principal crew folks were given these beautiful brass belt buckles that said the Beastmaster, and it had a little inscription on the back. I held on to that since I was 12. I have no idea where it went. It breaks my heart.
Oh no.
And you know, even Mark Singer, when he saw me last, he said, "Still got that belt buckle?" And I just kind of nodded, you know, but I didn't want to tell him the story, you know.
Somewhere.
Yeah, maybe. But
In a box. No,
I
no.
have some fun behind the scene pictures, and you know, now a lot of these movies, you know, these little behind the scenes 8mm movies came out, you know, with the new Blu-ray.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw the new Blu-ray, but it's pretty awesome.
It's on my list to get. Now that we're doing a podcast about movies, my list of movies I have to get now is getting longer and longer.
I gotta show you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Look now, these guys. I wish they'd given me more copies, but they did a beautiful thing. I mean, they made a box set.
Oh wow!
Ooh, that artwork is insane.
The artwork's great, and I'll tell you another crazy story about the artwork in a minute. But
oh, that's awesome.
And look, it opens up. I mean, it's really beautiful. There's a book in here, a little booklet.
Well, that's getting moved up on my list.
Yeah, I mean, they did a really nice job. I mean, I got to say, they did a really nice job. They interviewed all of us. A couple stories you've already heard, but like, I mean, they did a good job.
Hell of a nice.
I got to give it up to them. I mean,
you know, seeing that packaging though, it makes me ask the ring, the eyeball ring. Now I see that in the packaging.
Yeah.
How much of it was practical? I mean, was it
100% practical?
And they had wiring, I'm assuming, to move the eye around, all this stuff, fishing line.
Yeah,
how was that? Was you wearing it during those principal shots, or was it someone else doing the hand modeling for that kind of stuff?
But they had a few different rings, right? Mm-hmm. One that didn't open that I would just wear for regular shots, right? And then they had the special one that they would shoot, and they would have my hand very still. And I guess there were 3 fishing wires. One would open the eyelid, right? Mm-hmm. So it would open up.
Sure.
And then one would pull the eyeball to the right, and one would pull the eyeball to the left. And it was puppetry. It was 100%, practical puppetry.
I appreciate all the digital wizards that are out there and all the stuff that seeing your collection, you're kind of a comic an action fan and stuff. Sure. So to be able to see the Avengers assemble finally and all this stuff after all these years, fantastic. Absolutely love it and a big fan of it. But where I think a lot of movies have kind of lost its soul is in practical effects. So when you get to see practical and then the digital wizardry meld together perfectly, that to me is beautiful. But to be able to see a practical effect that still works 100%, and it still holds up, like that eyeball, it still holds up.
Yeah,
not bad. Right? Things like that, yeah. It's fantastic.
Now the shot of the eagle flying off with the baby doesn't hold up as well.
No, that was a little off.
And you know what's interesting? I mean, Don Coscarelli tells this story. He was very unhappy with the way the movie came together. The director, really? Very unhappy. He was locked out of the editing room. He tells us all these stories on the all over the place. But anyway, he wanted to make a much darker film. He wanted that. Really, he was a horror guy, so he wasn't looking to make a family-friendly sword and sorcery movie. He was an edgy guy. He wanted to make it the witches, with the masks and the bodies, and the tree people, and he was.
Oh, they freaked me out.
Into the horror stuff. So he's very honored that the movie became a cult classic or whatever, however you want. Some people really love the movie.
Oh, it's cult classic.
He said it's a big conflict internally for him because it was such a painful process. You should watch his interview sometime on
absolutely
on that 4K. I'm telling his stories for him. I shouldn't do that, but we're here.
No,
and he's not.
It's fine. No, yeah, this is us talking.
He's a good guy. He wouldn't mind.
From...
I wouldn't. I have nothing but respect for Don, so I don't.
And I do have one question I always wondered after watching Beastmaster, and maybe you can answer this question. The tree people, the winged bat people, whatever the hell they were supposed to be called, when they would encapsulate people and turn them into goo, was it what the hell was that supposed to be?
Oh, well, I think the idea was they would ensnarl people in their wings and kind of just either regurgitate acid onto them maybe or something, and then when they would open up, all their bones and guts.
It always really reminded me of almost like speaking of the old like old school toys, the He-Man, the slime thing,
the Hordak slime.
Yeah, it kind of always reminded me of that. I'm going, what are they doing to him in there?
I wasn't in that
Yeah.
scene, but I actually did visit the set. I was there that day
Yeah,
watching
yeah.
some of that, and those guys were all 7 feet and above.
It was
And
super
apparently, there's a
creepy.
special agency for tall people like that because there
I bet.
occasionally are scenes, where they need a group of them, right?
Sure.
Right.
And they were the nicest guys. But I mean, that was a dark, eerie set. I mean,
yeah.
that was as a kid. I was like, wow. I mean, they built that crazy tree and the guy's head in the soup. I was like, ah.
I now
Yeah.
see now
That
knowing
was
that
Don Coscarelli at his finest there. Yeah.
now knowing that Beastmaster might have been that a lot more of that vibe.
That's what he wanted.
Oh, I wish he could get a recut of it then, and oof.
Well,
It'd be a different movie.
I think
I
they're
mean,
trying
it would
to-
be a
would
different
be.
movie.
I think he wants to remake it. Now,
Yeah,
I mean,
okay,
there's been a lot of
yeah.
rumors about
Okay,
remaking the movie again.
We'll see. I
We'll
mean,
see.
Yeah.
Risky,
it
right?
depends on. I'm not sold on remakes
Yeah.
all the time.
Well, if Don did
Sometimes
it, if Don got to do it his way, then maybe
I
you
think an
guys would be happy,
original.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Wouldn't be very
But I mean, I look at it like this too. Is I look at Beastmaster now, going, "This was PG back in the day.
yeah.
This
Yeah.
thing's brutal.
They allowed
Like you said, it had
boobs.
super dark, and even with the boobs. But that whole the winged people is a horror scene.
Right.
The dungeon is a horror scene. The cauldron that
With
had the body parts
ears and-
float back
yeah,
up
yeah.
in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was
Oh
gore in
my
there.
God.
Yeah. And children
Yeah, I
thrown in
mean,
the fire. That
Oh,
little girl
yeah.
that was thrown in the fire. That was the executive producer's daughter. So that was her cameo. Yeah,
Nice,
that was
nice.
Sylvia Tavis.
Welcome to acting, honey. Thrown into the fire
God,
pit.
she's
there.
probably almost my age now. It's crazy.
The only other question I guess that I was thinking about before we got to do this with you today is, did you have a lot of interaction or any interaction with the animals, the animal trainers? How did that all
I
go
did.
for you?
I did. All right. This is a funny story. So when I got the part, I was so thrilled, right? And they sent over the script. And I'm
Sure.
reading the script with my parents. And there was a scene where I'm riding the tiger like a horse.
Okay.
And I'm like,
Okay.
awesome. How are we going to do this? My parents are like, you're not riding any tiger, man. Well, damn, how are we going to do this? So sure enough, they had to make all kinds of accommodations because even they didn't realize what they were getting into with a kid. I mean, nowadays, obviously, you could do it a million different ways.
Yeah.
I had a set teacher named Linda who drove them crazy. She was a wonderful teacher. I got good grades. I learned my core subjects through her for 14 weeks. But the other part of her job was to protect my safety. And she drove them crazy. I mean, there are shots of me near the tiger, but often the tiger is chained down. You can't see. He has like a collar on and he's chained down.
Right.
And there are guys under the soundstage holding the chain down. Okay.
Oh,
And then there'd
geez.
be another animal trainer with a rifle right there. God
Just in
forbid.
case.
Right.
You had
Sure.
to put down the animal, right? They used plexiglass in a couple shots
Okay.
to separate me from the tiger.
Yeah.
They let me play with the ferrets. The ferrets are cool. I got to hang out with the ferret.
Well, there's a whole scene where you get to hold the
Yeah,
ferrets
I mean, they had
too when
40
he
of
hands
them.
them to you.
A couple of them were pretty.
I heard that.
close
Like,
up.
there's
Some of them were
literally
really
that
pretty.
many.
Some of them could do really cool things. That weren't as pretty up close, maybe. Right.
Yeah.
They kept swapping them out for different stuff, which is pretty cool. The eagle,
Okay,
I honestly
so-
didn't. I didn't really interact with the eagle much. I think I definitely saw it. It was around,
Sure.
but I didn't have any.
Did they drop it from the hot air balloon? That's what I wanted.
I never heard that story. Was that what they said?
Yeah, there's
I've
quite
never
a
heard
few
that one.
things about it because it wouldn't fly on command. And so there was some where they had, I don't want to say it was like a huge hot air balloon, but that had a trap door that they would drop it and it would take off flying for the
Yeah,
shot.
I think that's
So
on IMDb as one of the trivia.
Yeah,
like
I
an
think.
urban myth to me.
there's a
Yeah.
couple.
I don't even think they had the money to do that. I mean,
That's my thought.
yeah.
Like,
Honestly,
I know there's some aerial shots, but
I don't think so.
okay.
Those animals were really well trained. I mean, look, by today's standards, it was probably a little loosey goosey. Honestly,
Yeah,
because
sure.
they've cracked down on animal
A lot of
safety
animal
a lot.
stuff.
It
Yeah.
also could
good
have been
reason.
something filmed later too, like not with everyone around. I mean, it could have been
Well, it's
insert
possible.
shots.
Totally possible. They
So
shot all kinds
We're
of
not
things.
we're
when
not
I
here to
wasn't there.
debunk it. I just figured, hey, I got someone that was on set. I want to ask this
But like,
question.
what? I'm just trying to think. Like, what shot would they have needed to do that for? Even like,
There was a couple of where it was just straight up like aerial shots of the eagle or the hawk or whatever that was actually
Flying in the
supposed to be
sky.
depicted as
Yeah.
flying in the sky. There's actually some aerial camera work
Well,
that I was
helicopter.
also going. Yeah, like was it a
Yeah.
helicopter? Was it
There were no
anything
drones.
that was?
You know what I mean? There were no drones there.
Well, I kind of figured
Big
that,
helicopter.
but it was just some interesting ways to where you don't know. That's how like these rumors in Hollywood always start.
Yeah, I mean,
you
it's
hear one thing,
possible.
who knows where it goes.
It's possible.
We're not here to debunk it. I just wanted to ask you.
I mean, look,
they
had the tragedy with the tiger. I think you've probably, that's a true story. I mean, they used streaks tips, which is an aerosol spray can.
Sure.
Oh,
I mean, they must have cases of this stuff. Okay. And they would spray that tiger black. I mean, this was the worst decision they ever made, I think, in that film, in my opinion. And sure, the tiger died. I mean, it was toxic. There was nobody.
Well, and they kept spraying its mouth because every time it would take a drink of water, I read that it would wash some of it away.
Yeah.
Because there's actually some shots in the movie that you can see that. But it was one of the things I think that.
I mean, would it have been so horrible to have a striped tiger? Like, would that have?
That's what I don't think so. I mean, I get that the panther thing looks cool.
Somebody
but
was
at the same time, just put a tiger in there.
But
Tigers
it's a
are
tiger
cool.
in
Tigers
the sequels. Yeah, it's no longer
Yeah.
black in the sequels, so it's like,
yeah.
why did it matter? Well, I get now why, but it still worked.
Yeah,
It still was.
great.
I wish everyone out there could see Josh's face. He'd be like, oh, yeah.
This is one of those times we wish we had a YouTube show.
good. That's good. That's real good.
I'm still like picturing like Josh going, I get to be He-Man riding Battle Cat in this movie. That's exactly what I want to do. And then he's denied by his parents.
Yeah. No, today.
I think my dad would have been like, hell yeah, throw him on that tiger. He's going to have a blast.
Your dad would have done that for sure.
That's
funny. That's funny. I can't think of anything else Beastmaster wise, I guess.
No, let's talk a little bit about Josh wise.
Yeah,
what are you working on?
What's happening?
Because of COVID,
that you can talk about. I don't know. Maybe it's something
I haven't signed any NDAs or anything. There's nothing that big going on. I was working for a corporate media company for a couple of years, which we moved out into Porter Ranch, California, which is a beautiful spot. I'm so happy here. But with COVID, that place shut down. So that was a bummer. So I was kind of back to freelancing again in television. So for the last couple of years, I've been working on shows like Masters of Illusion, World's Funniest Animals, World Series of Poker, Poker After Dark. And now I just finished the pilot for At Home with Tori Spelling. Throwback to the 80s.
Okay.
She's being a mom, cooking and being goofy, and her silly friends are, giving her a hard time. And we'll see if that goes anywhere. That'll be great. I would love to work on that show for a year or two.
What kind of work are you? What kind of work are you doing with those now? Editing or post?
I just edited the pilot for them.
Okay.
They fired their director, which is a whole other story. I don't know any details about.
It's a spelling, so I'm not surprised.
Well, I mean, my fear is I'm next. They don't. I mean, I literally turned in my first cut on Friday. So
nice.
I know. Now here's.
I'm sorry, Josh. I didn't.
No, it's all good. The young woman I'm working with in Canada, who's my story producer, she's 25. She's completely new to this.
Okay.
But I thought, oh God, it's gonna be a nightmare. But she's been great. She's so enthusiastic. It's kind of kept me kind of positive.
Well, that youthfulness, she hasn't had life beat her down just yet. So you still got that youthful zeal.
Yeah, I don't want to make her all like a curmudgeon like I am. I'm giving you guys
right.
Up. You guys are seeing me in a good mood.
Look at all the gray we got, all of us here.
Yeah.
That happens.
She's thrilled with it. Now, if she can get her people on board,
right,
I think I'll be in good shape. And it's a good job. I can work at home. I'm on the pinball machine. I make my own hours.
Now, as someone who's done editing in the past myself, video editing and things, an editing nerd question: what do you like to use? What suites do you like to use? What's
my cousin Todd Fuhrman, who's retired now, was a pretty big TV editor. And when I was getting out of college, I was working in production, which was very grueling. You'd be there before the sun rises, you'd be there till the sun sets, and especially at the lower levels, it's very, very grueling. But I learned a lot more than I ever learned in film school. But anyway, he called me up, woke me up out of bed one day, wasn't working, and he said, "Josh, there's this new thing coming. It's called the Avid. You love computers. I don't know anything about computers. Help me make this transition." Basically, that was his way of kind of giving me not necessarily a job, but almost an apprenticeship, which was kind
Sure.
of common
Okay.
in post production.
Hey, yeah.
So he bought an Avid. This was back when it first came out. He said
Is
the
that when
loan
there
was
was the video toaster?
no, this
Almost.
was Media Composer, but
Okay. Okay.
I can tell you stories. I mean, I worked on D-Vision and all that, but that
Oh,
was just
geez.
for
Sure.
short films and festival stuff. So he had me come in. We basically learned the Avid together. He, ran with it for 20 years after that, at least. I learned to be an editor's assistant from him. I was his assistant on the Avid for a lot of like miniseries, like Attila the Hun, The Last Dawn, The Beast. Ironically, The Beast was a big octopus movie, and a TV movie.
Nice.
And so anyway, that's how I learned the Avid. But these days, I bounce between Premiere and Avid.
Okay.
Primarily.
Yeah, I was
So kind of a long answer to your question. Sorry, but
No, it's great.
No, you're fine, man.
I was taught very basics on both of those, and I always leaned towards the Adobe side of things. I liked their integration of all their other suites that you can do anything and everything with them, essentially. So it was always kind of fun.
It's like some people like Fenders, some people like Gibsons.
Yep.
Some people
It's
like
a preference thing. My cousin now, he teaches editing.
Same results,
Yeah, I've got a cousin that teaches editing now, through the San Francisco Institute of Art, and he still every once in a while he'll be like, "You remember Avid?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, I remember Avid." And he's like, "I hate Avid."
It's still used a lot. I mean, I don't hate it.
Very, very much so. Yeah,
there's ups and downs to both. I mean, I'm doing this show on Premiere.
Okay.
Just because I did my last show on Premiere, I thought it would just be an easier transition. They asked me what my preference was. I said I don't have one.
It's all about knowing the shortcuts and the key buttons, and
I'm terrible with that.
Once you get the interface down and you know how it all works, they both pretty much do the same thing. Yeah.
The younger editors I work with barely touch the keyboard. Actually, Todd barely touched the mouse. Todd barely touched the mouse. He was big on the keyboard shortcuts. I grew up with a mouse, so I'm pretty adept with a mouse. I've used a touchpad for editing. I've tried the mouse. I've tried the pen, which is kind of cool, actually. A lot of guys like the pen. But, for me, it's just a very visceral thing. I mean, I'm moving my hands around, and I don't mind that. Some guys, it might be a little faster with the keyboard, but I've done live TV. I've had to turn around, little 2-minute biographies on people fast.
Sure.
It's just what you like and what you're used to. I'm standing up now for the first time editing in 20 years or 18 years, and I love it. I love it. I'm doing my best work standing up.
Well, I can
Totally
see,
different.
like you said, using your hands and stuff. You feel a little bit more textile creating something. Like
Definitely.
I remember doing, and Charlie, you can attest to this, doing some early drafting stuff back in high school and stuff, and using pens and pencils and the rulers and everything. And then they go, "Okay, here's CAD," and I go, "I'm out." It wasn't nearly as fun to do it without, that feeling of a pencil across the paper. So I can see what you're saying as far as just moving the mouse, and you just feel like
the other thing I do,
something.
which every few hours I switch hands with the mouse.
Oh, okay.
And they say that does activate the other side of your brain and causes you to be, it forces you to think a little differently, which is supposed to be not just good for your work, but good for your brain too. So it's helped me become a little ambidextrous. I mean, I'm pretty equally adept with either hand on the mouse.
Oh, well,
but I'm a lefty
awesome.
by nature. But,
Yeah,
that doesn't work for me in woodworking though. Everything's
you don't want to
stay
take
on
your finger off.
one.
No. Do whatever it's safe.
I didn't need that finger anymore.
Yeah, I'll get a call from Charlie going, "Remember when Josh said switch brains? That son of a..." And I was like, "Oh no."
There's no undo in woodworking. There's
no.
Control Z.
But no,
Charlie.
it's funny. Dan says that I tried multiple like computer programs to draw like cabinet layouts or a piece of woodwork, and in my brain I see it, and I try to put that picture on the computer, and I'm like, screw this. I go get a piece of paper and I can draw it out.
No, we're old.
I swear almost as fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we're old, but I'm like, but I've also handed that to people, or in an email, and they're like, "Did you draw that?" I'm like, Yeah,
There you go.
drew it. It's not a computer program. And I almost kind of think that's a nice little touch anymore where they're like, this guy actually took the time to
Yes,
draw it,
100%.
not just
If I met with
drag
you
and
and I said,
pull.
"Yeah, wow, he actually drew this," he probably knows what he's doing with the wood too. Whereas with a computer
So
program, you don't know who could have done that.
Absolutely.
they'll never know.
So what do you? Okay, so you're doing your editing and stuff now. You said you still live out in California,
I have a wife and a son.
wife and a son and everything. And so, what do you do when you're not editing? What you said? Pinball.
Well, I'm a classic gamer nerd. I love pinball. I have another arcade cabinet over there that plays thousands of games on it.
Nice.
I play music. I play the piano. I play guitar. I play ukulele. I sing. Love all that. I used to play a lot of basketball, even though I'm a short Jewish guy. But now these days I play more tennis. I played tennis yesterday. I love
Okay.
tennis.
Okay. It's hard to
Not
believe
quite
a short Jewish guy was in Hollywood, but I'll go with it. Sure. Yeah.
Well, we've had a good run. I think it's almost over.
Yeah, it worked out okay, I guess. It worked okay.
Nothing lasts forever, right?
Yeah,
So,
sure.
That's it.
what else do I like to do? We have some mountains. We do some hiking. My son and I do some hiking and biking up here. We love
Okay.
that.
That's awesome.
I mostly focus on being a dad. My son is
Awesome.
16, so pretty much whatever he wants to do, I try to be down for. I only have maybe a few more years left with him, right? Like this.
Yeah. Is he driving yet?
No, it's interesting. This generation, at least out here, they're not as in a rush to get their license as I was.
I wasn't either,
counting
actually.
down the days, and these guys.
Mine's counting down the days because at 15 and a half, he can get his learners, and
Right.
that's in March.
Yep.
Okay, well,
So he's
somebody's
already like,
excited about it. Yeah.
yeah, he's like, Dad, when can we do it? And I have multiple vehicles. My dad's a mechanic. We have all kinds of stuff, and
Nice.
he loves getting in the one and just driving around the driveway. He's ready in his mind, and I'm sitting there going, Jesus Christ,
Yeah, it's scary.
I'm not. I don't know if I'm ready for
I mean,
this.
you know what
or
it costs to
not.
insure a teenager out here? I don't know what it
Don't
costs.
tell.
There. Here, it's like
Yeah.
$500 a month just to
Oh,
insure a teenager.
wow.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Ouch.
I mean, that's like a
Oh,
Mercedes payment right there.
Yeah,
That's
no, I'm
crazy.
good.
no,
I'm,
yeah.
I'm good
Yeah.
with that.
So if my
thank you.
son's not in a hurry, I'm not going to rush him.
I'll do what my parents
wait.
did. It's like you're getting a job. So I fried fish at Long John's to pay
There
for
you
my
go.
car insurance when I
Right.
was 16.
Right.
So,
In those
you
days,
know.
you could support a car working at
Yeah.
Long John's.
You
Today,
absolutely
I
could.
don't think you could do that really.
You know,
Not out
it-
here.
No.
Not out
it's
here.
fantastic with all the stories you've shared and all the things you've got to experience, all the adventures. Fatherhood is the most challenging and the most rewarding and absolutely the most fun, in my
100%.
opinion. I would
You left
think.
out terrifying.
Oh yeah, no, it
Terrifying
scares the
as
hell out of you
well.
daily. Scares the hell out of you daily. So.
And it's not like I get one done and I'm like, I'm ready for the next one because my oldest is my son. The next oldest is my daughter. And I'm like, I have no idea what to do now. I look at my wife all the time going, that's on you.
A daughter,
I got
a daughter would make me very nervous.
Yes.
I think the universe or God or whatever you say, only gives you what you can handle, right?
That's what they say.
yeah,
That's what they
yeah,
tell us.
that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true, but in my case with kids, I think it was true. I think for me, I was an only child,
Uh-huh.
so the idea it didn't have any kind of negativity around it.
Sure.
My wife, however, is Latin, and so her families are very large on her side
Yes,
of the family.
sure,
So it was
sure.
very
Yes.
different for her, and to explain that. But I knew for me and my bandwidth, one was great.
It's just perfect.
He's my best friend.
Excellent.
I love him. He's been a really good kid for 16 years. No complaints.
That's
He's never
awesome.
been in jail. He's never been in rehab. He's never gotten a girl pregnant. He does his schoolwork. So no complaints.
You're winning.
But could
You're
I do it
winning.
again and again like you guys? I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
it's-
brave.
I don't know.
I
Brave
feel like
and
I copped
stupidity.
out a
There's
little
a
bit. I
there's
feel
a
like I
fine
copped
line
out.
between brave and stupidity, Josh.
Well,
I'd
fair
say.
enough.
Now,
I mean,
okay,
I do feel bad that he doesn't have siblings because my parents are getting older, and
Yeah.
a lot of that falls on me, and that's the
yeah,
downside.
yeah, but you know what? I don't even
Yeah.
like my siblings, so it's okay.
Oh, there you go.
You were talking earlier about how you grew up watching classic film and going through film school. You have to write what was Rosebud? Why was
Right.
it? All these things. What's your favorite movie? Do you
Wow.
have a favorite?
Well, I mean, Yeah, I don't think I have one favorite movie.
Right,
And
yeah.
let's just take Beastmaster off the table for a second.
Sure.
Yeah, Beastmaster's off the table. You're too much in close to that
Yeah,
one.
and honestly, I mean, as much as I love it, it's not my favorite film of all time. I guess in the action sci-fi fantasy realm,
Yeah,
my
please.
favorite movie
Yeah.
is a really silly one, which is Buckaroo Banzai.
Oh,
I could watch that movie
Oh,
once a year,
Yes.
twice a year easily, and I probably do. Okay. Now, most people won't
same.
understand that. You guys do, clearly.
yes,
We get it.
absolutely. Yep.
To me, that's just an incredible film. Also, I love Brazil, which is an
Yes.
incredible
Yes.
movie. Talk about optical
Beautiful,
effects.
beautiful
Oh my
film.
goodness. Best
Yes.
optical effects maybe ever.
Incredible. Yes.
That I'm holding that one back to introduce to my son until he can appreciate it a little bit more.
Oh,
Watching it way too young, you're
No,
like,
no.
I don't know what's
I showed
going
it to my
on.
son when he was way too young, but he liked it.
Yeah.
now.
yeah. I remember when it came out on HBO when I was younger and I watched it and went, what the hell is this? Now at 45, I watch it and go, absolutely. You appreciate it
Yeah.
differently for sure.
It's almost certainly as relevant now as it was then.
Oh,
as
yes.
far as-
Yes.
yeah.
There's a lot of movies that are a lot
Yeah.
more relevant now.
That's
than
What
they
are you
were back
talking
in the
about? There
day.
ain't nothing
were
going
warned.
on in the world.
We were warned. But look at all those pandemic movies, for God's sakes. We were warned.
Yeah, right.
I'm trying to think favorite movies all the time. I mean, look, when I was younger, I loved The Wizard of Oz. That was my favorite movie. I'm
Sure.
kind of a
Mhm.
sucker for musicals because my father worked on Broadway.
Right.
But let's see. I was thinking. Obviously, I'm a huge Trekker, but I'm not gonna pick one movie. You know what I mean? My
Can you
son
pick a
is
captain?
my son is more Star Wars. I'm more Star Trek.
Can you
But I do love
pick your
Star
favorite
Wars, too.
captain though?
I'm sorry.
If you can't pick your favorite film, can you pick your favorite captain?
As an actor, nobody's better than Patrick Stewart.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Agreed.
But I love Shatner. I just love Shatner. I mean, I know he's an ass, and I know he's has a really weird past and everything. But
He's a captain.
He's
He
Very
is who he
very
is.
shoot first, ask questions later, cowboy type of character.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I knew Leonard Nimoy a little bit growing up, only because
Really?
he went to our temple, and he was
Okay.
just a
Oh, okay.
fine man, amazing man. And I always
Yeah.
loved Spock, and I identified with Spock a lot as a kid because I'm from a mixed faith house.
Sure.
My parents is Christian, one of them's Jewish, and so I had two very different types of grandparent and family situations, which was interesting.
Yes.
And kind of had to take the best of both. And so when I saw Spock struggling with that, conflict between his backgrounds, I related to that. And it's interesting. A few of my friends that are interracial identified with Spock too.
I can
very,
see that.
very much, which was
That
interesting.
makes a lot of sense.
But I
yeah.
love Shatner, and
Sure.
I saw He's 90 years old now, and I
Yeah.
saw him
Oh,
do
gosh.
a one-man show. This is probably 4 or 5 years ago. He was incredible. 2 hours of stories from Shatner with slides and pictures, and he sang and he talked about his love for horses and every acting story. I mean, he felt like he went through 12 Thanksgiving dinners with him after that. So he kind of won me
That's
over.
awesome.
And I loved Boston Legal. I loved him in that, and I loved even his silly movie he just did, Senior Moment, which was so goofy. Took place in Palm Springs.
Well, he just went to space too, didn't he?
just went to
Technically,
space.
He
yeah,
went to
yeah.
space, yeah.
Minutes.
Yeah. I mean, come
I mean,
on.
look, nobody's perfect, but you have asked me my favorite captain.
Yeah.
I guess I have to say Kirk, even though I
Kirk.
love Picard. Don't get me wrong. I mean, if in a real life situation, I would want Picard as my captain, of course.
Yeah,
In
absolutely.
a fantasy,
Yes.
I would want.
Yeah,
Kirk.
I was
Yes.
always a Picard fan first, and then actually I really like Archer.
yeah.
I liked Scott Bakula, his work in that.
Bakula's great. He
quite
was a good
bit, so,
captain.
yeah.
Yeah.
So a big Trekker, you said.
Big Trekker.
Your son's more of a Star Wars.
He loves Star Wars.
Yeah.
He likes Trek too, but he's his first love is Star Wars.
Again, he's well versed in both. You
He's
got to have a
well-versed in
mixture
both. I
of both
think,
religions
Star Wars
as they
is
mix it.
Exactly.
Exactly
That's
right.
what it is. Yeah, exactly. My mother was a big Star Trek fan when I was growing up, and I latched onto Star Wars. So I will forever be a Star Wars fanboy. But Trek, I tell you what, if I had to
There's
live in
always
one,
room for
if
Trek.
I had to live in one universe or the other, it's Star Trek. I think it's
Right.
a little,
Yeah, well,
little
yeah.
nicer, a little easier on us.
I don't know if either of you guys have been in war. I haven't, and
No.
I'm very grateful for not having that
Nope.
experience.
I think we've all dodged that bullet pretty good
For
so
sure.
far.
Yep.
So
Yep.
we'll say so far for right now.
Well,
Well, if they draft us, that's a big problem.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
it would be like what was that Future War they just did with Chris
Oh, Chris
Chris
Pratt,
Pratt.
Well, I don't think I saw that.
where they went back in time to
Yeah,
recruit people for the
basically,
war in the future.
yeah, the future had issues, and they needed personnel so bad they would recruit basically anybody. So you could be a butcher in a deli, you could be a substitute school teacher. It didn't matter. You had to get drafted and go to war. And these
Yeah.
people are walking around going, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I think a
That's
lot of
what
guys
we'd
felt
be
that
like.
way in a lot of wars.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
That's
yeah.
it,
Tell me
man.
about
That's
it.
I mean, I just read today that everyone in Ukraine, all men between 20 and 60, are not supposed to leave the country because they're going to
Yeah.
be called up.
Yeah.
They're fighting at this point. Yeah.
20 to 60.
They're hand delivering weapons to homes right now.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
That's the last thing
it's
I read.
crazy.
It's sad.
Yeah, it's a crazy situation. So
I mean, I honestly didn't think Putin was that crazy. I knew he was a dictator and he was, narcissist and all that, but I didn't think he was going to just roll into Ukraine like this.
I figured at this point in our lives, minus 2 or 3 individuals, nobody at this point is just going to roll into another country and go mine, flag, boom.
What the hell?
But he absolutely did. And
we're going to see how it works out for him.
Yeah, well, because it seems like everyone else in the world is against it. So
even Russians, it seems like, aren't behind him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
They're protesting pretty heavy right now.
We'll just see what happens.
And for those of you listening, they're like, "Why are you guys talking about current politics?"
Sorry.
Well, I just watched Rambo 3 yesterday just so I could freshen up a little bit here about.
That's how Charlie gets his history lessons, by the way. Is Rambo and Delta Force.
Stallone, he's quite a character. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Is he? Have you met Stallone?
I've met him briefly twice in my life, but I have 2 friends that worked with him very closely in the Philippines on Rambo, and he was shooting like 2 at once at one point. Rambo and Rocky. I think he was shooting Rambo 2 and Rocky 3 or whatever. This guy goes way back with Stallone. He's an older guy. And a younger friend of mine who's a very talented editor now on The Boys. She's on fire. She was his assistant editor on all those newer Rambos and Rocky movies.
Oh, really? Okay. Cool.
Oh, nice.
Very cool.
And
That's
my favorite story she told that I can repeat while we're recording, because I love Rocky. Rocky, my favorite movies. That's in my top 10 for sure.
The
I was
first Rocky.
just the right age, just
Perfect.
the right play.
Yeah.
That movie, to this day, that music inspires me, and I work out. Anyway, I'm a big Rocky fan. So I think she was expressing, some of her love for that character to him, and he said, "Well, Nona, that's my alter ego. That's not who I am." And sure, it's kind of true. I think.
Well, I mean, I think it was.
He might be more Rambo than Rocky.
I think now. I think later. I think early on, I kind of think that Rocky was maybe that side of him he
was
wanted
young.
to be.
Yeah, he was very young.
Yeah, he was young. He was an aspiring actor.
Right.
He wanted to act. And then he realized, oh, I got muscles and they'll let me play with machine guns and I get paid well. And it went from there. So, we love Stallone. That's probably one of mine and Dan's favorite
Well, I certainly
actors.
certainly love Rocky. I mean, I don't know Stallone as a man, but I mean, as his work, I love. I mean, a lot of it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, speaking of Italian guys that you met or in passing, there was another video I watched earlier that you got to work with Tony Danza briefly.
Right. Yeah, Tony, he was cool. That was kind of one of my last things I did in high school on TV.
It was Teen Star Search, right?
Star Search with Ed McMahon and
it was a skit. What was the deal with that? Because it was just that one part I watched.
The idea was, how just like they do today with American Idol, they would judge singers and stuff on Star Search, same kind of show.
Yeah.
They wanted to do that for acting, which is kind of inherently flawed on its surface. But anyway, that's what they did. So they had me do a skit with Tony and an actress, young actress, and then another couple, and we competed. I was told ahead of time I wasn't going to win, which was interesting. It was all political, totally, and they were very upfront about it, so that was okay.
Okay, well, yeah.
Now,
again, was leading you along.
At least you knew what you were getting into,
But I knew, it's like I was doing it for the payday and maybe a little exposure, right? The kid who won, J.D. Roth, interestingly enough, do you know who he is?
Yeah, he went on to host a lot of children's game shows like Fun House and things of that nature. Yeah,
and he's one of the biggest reality producers ever.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
very, very successful producer. he was nice, redheaded kid. He was
Yep.
cool, and
Yeah.
Tony Danza was very gracious and cool with both of us. And it was one day, It was
Did you get to meet
kind of
Ed?
yeah, sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
Enough to go, I met him. Yeah.
That was kind of a forgettable thing. It was just like a one-day shoot on a soundstage. I did like Tony Danza because I love Taxi. I love that show.
Sure.
Well, again, that's our era. We all know Taxi and Who's the Boss and all this. So when I saw that, I'm like, I get to talk to someone about that got to meet Tony Danza. When is that going to happen again? So I had to bring it up.
Yeah, no, he was great. He was great.
I gotta look
I
up
actually
Star Search now though and see if I can find that skit.
It's on my.
It's on his YouTube.
Oh, okay.
It's on
I'll
his
jump
YouTube
on there and
I
check it
post
out.
all
Yeah.
that stuff just so people can laugh.
Well, yeah.
Like when
fun.
I get like on this Tori spelling thing, everybody winds up Googling everybody. So I just put it out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
I actually went to the same high school as Tori, which is kind of funny. So I hope she likes my cut. We'll see. I haven't met her yet.
if
we'll
not,
see.
just stuff her in a locker like in high school would be fun.
If not, next.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's always the next.
On to the next project.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it for sure.
But that said, I would like it to continue.
Yes.
I will
Oh,
read
absolutely. No. Yeah.
No, Tori,
Keep the gravy
Tori's a big
train
fan of the
coming,
pod.
Dave.
Yeah.
Tori's a big fan of the pod. We'll make sure we tell her. Just Tori, just
Please
let it keep
Tell
going.
her Josh
Just,
says hi, and
Yeah.
if you watch Rough Cut 1 of
He said it's gonna be fantastic. Just let him do it.
right.
It's got our seal of approval
Well,
already.
it always makes
it's
you
good to
nervous
go.
when the director's fired and a new director comes in and you're working
Oh,
with the
yeah.
fired director's material. You're
Of
like,
course,
uh-oh.
yeah. They want their own vision of things and stuff.
Maybe
Yeah.
so.
Makes
And I
sense.
would blame him. I mean, I'd have to bow out graciously if he said, he's an older guy, a very experienced director. He said, if he said, I have an editor I've worked with for 25 years, what am I going to say? You know what I mean?
Well,
But
and
You have no,
you've
see, now you're
played
getting
this
a
game
taste of
long enough.
my Jewish neuroticism and my paranoia. See, they'll
Right.
probably love it. It'll be fine. I'm worried about nothing, right?
I think that's a human element. I see the flaws in everything I do and run through all the scenarios in my brain. And at the end of the day, everything was fine. No one even paid attention to
Right.
what I saw.
That's right.
So it's like it's just all in my head. So
100%. See,
yeah.
we're all the same. We're all the same.
Very
it
much
is.
so.
It's the human condition, Josh.
Doesn't matter where you're
It's just
from or where
weird,
you
like-
live.
It's like, usually like, at least when you're cast in a movie, it's rare that you're fired off, because they can't replace you once they start shooting, right? But an editor,
They never see
they
you.
could
You're a
turn this
name
over
on the
like
credits.
anything. Yeah, they
Yeah.
could replace me in a second. And so there's always that, but that's
Well-
showbiz, man. What are you gonna do? I guess.
You've played the game long enough, you know how it works.
I guess. I mean, it's
Yeah.
definitely taken its toll.
Like I said again, I see the gray. I understand.
Yeah, that's happened in my
Yeah.
early 30s. Yeah.
We're-
Yeah, mine's because of the kids. Yours is because of the work.
Yeah.
I just grow mine out and hide the other underneath it. That's what I do.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, yours is pretty long. See, my wife says I used to have pretty long hair and many times, and my wife said the beard or the hair, pick one, Josh.
Very nice.
So-
See, I'm reversed.
Due for a
This is
haircut,
actually
and I've got a beard, so I'm in trouble.
this is grown out for me. This is my hippie stage here. This needs to
Nice,
get
man.
shaved down and then beard go out.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
take
it.
it.
That's
Hey,
it.
it's what's in here that counts.
100%, brother. 100%.
100%, brother.
Well, I feel like we've covered everything.
Yeah,
Josh.
I'm good
Well,
if
shoot.
you're
All right.
good.
All right.
Well, Josh, we'd
I-
really like to thank you for coming on and spending some time with us today, and talking about, of course, Beastmaster and just yourself as well. It
Yeah.
pretty awesome just to get to know you. I really appreciate it, and hope all of our fans out there appreciate it. Is there anything you want to plug out or your socials or anything like that?
No, not really. People can find me if they want. I'm easy
Good
to
enough.
find.
If you need him, find him.
Yeah, just
He
Google my
found
name.
me.
You can
I
find
mean,
me.
that's how this worked.
It's like Bill Murray. I don't have an agent. You just got to find me.
Yeah, exactly. You're like the A team. If you can find him and you can hire him, maybe he can help.
Maybe he can edit that movie you've been working on.
You never
Exactly.
know.
So
You never know.
we'll take it. But,
Thanks, guys. It's
yeah,
been a
no,
lot of fun, and I think
absolutely.
talking like this really helps break down barriers and build bridges, and show that no matter we're all Americans. We should love each other and be kind to each other.
Absolutely, man.
I like it, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Whew, I am tired of listening to myself.
Yeah, I guess we probably didn't need to play that live drop
No.
all the way through.
No, I could have been doing something like flossing my ears or brushing my toes or
No one needs to know all that.
burning my hair. I don't know. I could have been doing something, but it was better time spent listening to that interview. It was really good.
No, I had an absolute blast on that interview. He ended up. Sometimes you get a little worried interviewing someone that you have no idea who they are, how they are, and then after the first few sentences, you're just like, okay, this guy's going to be 100% cool.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was one of those. I mean, because in my past life as a radio guy, can you guys tell I did some radio?
No one knows.
Okay, so when I did that, I got to interview some people, so I was okay with interviewing, but I didn't know like this dude. I didn't, I didn't have any frame of reference, and it ended up being really, really awesome. And had a great time talking to Josh. Would like to talk to him again. Had a blast.
Oh yeah,
Josh,
oh, yeah.
call me. Anyway, yeah, had a great time. Thanks, Josh, so much for your
Taking the
time.
time out, reaching out to us. I mean,
Absolutely,
it was an absolute blast. He's I need to remember when this drops for him to send us a picture of the sword that he has hanging in his room.
Yeah.
And that's the I know we say it in there, we've said it before. We're not doing YouTube, but there are times that God, I wish we were doing video, because we're literally getting a tour of his basement like office area.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
toys
it was
on
so
the
cool.
shelves.
I think it was his garage. I think there was a garage door.
Was it the garage? Yeah, it was
so.
something.
I don't
But
know. You don't know. You know them Hollywood types. So
Yeah.
I had a blast doing it. I can't wait for more of these interviews to come down the road that we're working on.
Yep, there are more coming.
Psst, we are actually working on new ones. Just as a secret, everybody. Shh, don't tell nobody.
Well, it's
okay. Tell people, please.
I mean, you don't announce it till you've recorded it. That can go back and bite you in the butt sometimes.
I know, because I mean, I'm real excited that Patrick Stewart will be on the show. I mean, no.
Yeah, no.
All right, well,
don't even get anybody's hopes up for something like that.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Stuart Patrick is who I told you.
A guy named Stuart Patrick. Yeah, he's the cashier at the Kroger down the street. Which for people that don't know what Kroger is, it's a grocery store. You dullards. All right,
Kroger down here.
Well, yeah, but not in Washington State.
Cool.
Probably. I don't know. All right. You know what? This is kind of weird closing off on this one, because we usually do a body count. There was 0. This episode had 0 bodies count.
Yeah, none of us died in this interview.
I give it a 10 Leongs for the interview.
Josh gets 10 Leongs. We'll do that. I 100% back that up.
And Josh, I hope all of your pinball scores are 999999999. I think that's enough nines.
Roll that sucker over. That's what I say.
Don't tilt it.
I'm glad we're gonna have a jealous Pete at the end of this when he hears about all that.
Yeah. Hey, Pete, we got to talk to this guy. He plays pinball.
All
right. Anyway, you got anything to add to this?
Well, do you want to at least do our little closing type thing?
Yeah.
Or are we good?
Yeah.
Just throw some quick. Everyone knows the socials. Just throw the quick thank yous out to our network brothers.
Thank you to all of our network brothers and sister out there. First of all, we'd like to thank Mountain Empire Comics in Bristol and Kingsport, Tennessee. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Second of all, we'd like to send a hey, what's up to all of our other homies on the network. Of course, that's Good Beer Bad Movie Night. That is the monster movie Stomp Down. That is live and in color with Wolfie D. Kind of a adjacent.
That's one of the sister ones.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you saying Jimmy's a sister?
My
cousin. Whatever. It's a cousin podcast.
It's a sister cousin. Is that a thing?
Well, you're from Virginia, so maybe. And of course, give me back my pro wrestling.
Yes.
As we record this, episode 2 will be dropping tomorrow morning.
As we record.
Now you guys know when we recorded this. Also, I Know You Can Hear Me.
Yes.
I have to plug that one because I don't want Flynn to meet me and stretch me. And Tales from the Haunt.
Yep. Which they heard the brand new commercials we got there. So we're trying to mix things up so you don't hear the same exact commercial break every episode.
That's right. And is there another podcast that's on this network? I can't remember if there's anything. No, I guess that's it. No,
I mean, if you want to plug the horror
yeah.
one, but
Oh, that's right.
if they're
There's a
listening to
horror
this one,
You
they know
that.
about the horror one.
I know. I'm just being a toolbag.
My feelings don't get hurt. It's fine.
I'm just being a knob. Everyone, the next episode of Give Me Back My Action Movies will be coming out on its regularly scheduled day.
Yep.
So make sure you listen to that.
Oh yeah.
We're recording this on an off night, so I don't have the same energy, I think. Maybe I don't have the same flow.
Well, for those that have listened to the
And
others,
I haven't
they
had
know.
dinner yet either. I ate some Doritos, but that's
Yeah, neither have I.
Yeah.
Now, for those that maybe don't know and maybe aren't listening to the interviews on the horror show, the interview episodes just appear. I don't bump anything on our normal movie episodes. I feel like the interviews should just be boom, surprise.
Like Kevin Bacon when you throw paint on him.
Yeah, like Hollow Man.
See? I
That
know
was
about horror
good.
movies.
Good, Dan.
I saw
Good.
that one.
Awesome.
That was creepy as shit.
It really was.
It really
For
did.
more than the
Yeah,
scary
it's good.
part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys need to do a horror movie that I actually have seen and or will watch so I can be on there.
We did Christine, but you were dying. So that was
I
probably
had the vid.
You had the old vid and you thought you were recording, but you weren't.
That's how sick I was. I thought I was going to record that night, and I really didn't, which thank goodness I didn't.
Yep.
For me, for Charlie, thank you, Josh. For Nate, who's not even here. This has been a very special episode of Give Me Back My Action Movies. Charlie, say the thing.
Josh, that interview was phantasmagorical.
I knew you'd say that.
Discover the incredible link between man, animal, and all that is phantasmagorical.